Did you know cake decorating shows provide lessons for lawyers regarding writing and editing their thought leadership content? Yeah, they do. It's true. Hi, everyone. My name is Wayne Pollack. I'm an attorney who helps other attorneys engage the audiences that are vital to their firm's success, including their clients, their referral sources, their employees, and the media. In this video, 4 lessons that cake decorating shows can teach lawyers about writing and editing thought leadership content. I recently walked in on my kids watching a cake decorating show. I couldn't tell you which one. I couldn't tell you what channel or what streaming service it was on, but I stopped in, chatted with them, and watched for about 5-10 minutes this cake decorating show. And as I was watching the show, which is one where the contestants have to bake a cake and then they decorate the cake, and then they are judged on both the flavor, the taste, and the decorations themselves. As I was watching this, it dawned on me, there are some interesting parallels between this cake decorating show and the process that lawyers go through when they write and edit thought leadership content that they use for their marketing and business development purposes. So I'm going to give you 4 lessons that I learned or that I took away from the cake decorating show that are widely applicable to lawyers when they're writing and editing, but especially writing and editing thought leadership content. Lesson number 1. Just like baking and decorating are 2 separate steps, so are writing and editing. In these cake shows, you obviously couldn't decorate a cake that wasn't baked. And if you just sent to the judges a baked cake with no decorations, you won't win. These are 2 separate processes, 2 separate steps. So it is with writing and editing. Lawyers should not be editing as they write. They should focus their writing process, the step where they are writing, on grabbing all the information that they want to incorporate into their article or blog post or whatever, organizing it, making sure that they're going to present their information in a consistent, logical, structured manner, that they are speaking to their clients' issues, their clients' concerns, or the target audience's issues and concerns. They should focus on writing and then put that draft down or put that version 2 or 3 down, and then come back to it a few hours later, a day or 2 later, and that's when they start editing. That's when they start making sure the grammar is working, the style is good, that the article flows, the blog post flows, and one paragraph leads to the next, one section leads to the next. What they say in the intro, they're going to discuss, they actually do, and the conclusion naturally follows from what they've said in the rest of the article or blog post. Writing and editing should be 2 separate phases, just like baking and decorating. When you edit as you write, you will stifle your creativity. You'll start getting off on the wrong track because you'll be focused on the finished product when you should just be focused on building the product, making sure that you have in there all of the points you want to make and that you want your audience to take away from the eventual finished product. Lesson number 2, both steps are required. In the cake competition, the contestants had to bake a cake so they could be judged on the flavor and the taste, and they had to decorate the cake so that they could be judged on the decorations and then get points for both and hopefully win the competition. It's the same thing with writing and editing. Both steps are required. Now, obviously, you're going to think, well, yeah, duh, you need to write in order to create a written article or written blog post. But when it comes to editing, so many lawyers, so many of their colleagues tend to skimp on editing and just give it their drafts a quick run through for style and grammar. But you need to really think through when you're editing your thought leadership content. Does this flow well? Does this say what I want it to say? Does it say the things that I say it's going to say? It's a separate process. It shouldn't be lumped in with writing, but it's still a necessary process if you want to create a compelling piece of thought leadership content that actually resonates with your target audiences. Lesson number 3, a mistake in one of the steps can negatively affect the entire project. If a contestant screws up when they're baking the cake, either because they make it taste terrible or the cake lacks the structural integrity to hold up other layers of cake during the decorating phase, that's going to be a problem, and that could ruin their chances for success. On the other side, even if they baked the most phenomenal, wonderful tasting cake, if they screw up the decorations, that's going to be a problem too for the overall project. So it goes with writing and editing. No matter how good of a job you might do compiling interesting information and organizing it on the writing side of the equation, if your editing is not good and you're giving your audience a 2,000 word article that could have been communicated in merely 1,200 words, that's not good. If you've written the piece well, but it's edited poorly, there's no structure, there's no kind of unifying theme, the intro doesn't flow into the body and the body doesn't flow into conclusion, that's going to affect the overall perception of the article. And likewise, even if you have a fantastic editor or you are a fantastic editor, if the writing doesn't suit the audience, if it doesn't cover the key ideas, the key concepts that are most relevant and compelling to the audience, it doesn't matter if your editing is great because the substance of the writing is not going to pass muster. Finally, lesson number 4, you will be judged on both your writing and your editing. In the cake competition, the contestants were judged on the flavor of their cake and the decorations on the cake. If the cake tasted great but had crappy decorations, well, that counted for something. And likewise, if the cake tasted terrible but had beautiful decorations, that counted for something too. No matter how good or bad each individual component was, the baking and the decorating, together, that was what they were ultimately judged on. And so it goes again with writing and editing. No matter how compelling of content you have put into an article or a blog post, if it doesn't read well because of poor editing, your audience isn't going to think that the article is great. And likewise, if it's well edited and there's no punctuation errors, style is beautiful, structure is great, but the substance is lacking, it's just all filler, it's all puff, it doesn't actually tell the audience anything, then again, you'll be judged on that overall product and it won't look good for you. It won't put you in a good light because it doesn't bring the goods. I gotta be honest. When I walked in on my kids watching this cake decorating show, I did not think it would inspire me to create this video regarding 4 lessons that kind of show can teach lawyers about writing and editing their thought leadership content, but here we are. If you're interested in learning more about how to create compelling thought leadership marketing and business development content, but not necessarily how to bake or decorate a cake, check out lawfirmeditorialservice.com. We have plenty of videos and blogs that can help you do just that.